Hello, welcome back to, I guess, part two of. I don't know if it's going to be a series or if it's just going to be a. Yeah, we'll say series just to make things easier. So today I've just hopped on and we are going to go through all the stuff that has crafted. This has been overnight. I've done this video, so you may not have this part yet if you're playing through multiple videos doing this. But just check your foundry, make sure everything's crafted. If you can mod anything, try to mod stuff. And now that I've gotten Taxon, the Sentinel that I did recommend to craft last video, we can now put the mod vacuum on. This is the reason I tell you to craft Taxon as soon as you can. Taxon, basically, it will pick up, vacuum will pick up loot for you within a certain area. So with Taxon, you can basically run around and you don't have to run directly over the loot anymore. You can just pick up he kind of just sucks up the shit for you and picks it up, make it easier. After you've done all that stuff, checked your mods and whatnot, you want to then go to your navigation. You should have the next quest available once a week. So if you click on that, it should then bring you to the codex. So if you click begin quest at the bottom right, go back to your navigation to start that quest. And again, it's going to be very basic, running through missions, work towards the objective, and just pick up loot as you go. So I'll come back to you after this mission and we'll go on to the next bit. So after this mission finished, I had the ability to rank up my master rank again. As I mentioned in the last video, as soon as you can do them, do them. If you're not sure you can do them, when you click on the master rank test, before you click begin, at the bottom right there is the practice tab. If you click on that, it'll take you to a relay to meet Samaris, which is one of the people in the relays. They're like little kind of public areas that you can meet other players and factions. In there, it'll take you to Samaris, and there's a whole like spiral kind of staircase in his room with every single master rank test up until Legendary 3, which is basically master rank 33. You can go into that room and you can actually go to the master rank test that you need to do and practice it before you do it. Because if you practice and you fail, there's no cooldown. If you actually do it and you fail, it's a 24-hour cooldown. So if you think you need to practice, go for it. I'd say the first 3, 4, maybe 5 master ranks, you really shouldn't need to practice it. Not that it's like, not that you personally shouldn't need to practice it, but they're all really, really simple. The first 3 are kill enemies, and there's one of them that's like hack different consoles, which you may need a little bit of practice for if you're not very good at the hacking side of things. But they're pretty simple, to be honest with you. It's kind of when you get to master rank 7, 8 onwards, you may want to practice them, or you can just go in blind like I did on my main account. I just took my strongest stuff and went in blind every single time. But it's completely up to you. Do it however you like. The practice option is there if you decide you would like to do it. Okay, so I just got an inbox message from someone telling me that I can now join a clan. Clans are really useful and you should absolutely look into joining one, especially because more than half the weapons in the game come from clans. You need to buy their blueprints. So the easiest way to do it is to pause your game, click communication, then clan, and then search for a clan. And the only 2 tabs I would really recommend you turn on here would be beginner friendly and max research. Because this is an alt account, I didn't really need beginner friendly, but if you're confused with things, you can also click on beginner friendly and it'll show you certain clans that will be able to help you and explain things if need be. Have a read through them, make sure they're not like different language, because there is one of these that was like Chinese or something, and I was having none of it. Yeah, the asterisks are a different language, and obviously my computer doesn't translate that. But once you find a clan you like, you can type in a little message, just whatever you want, and if they're happy with your message or accept you, you'll get an inbox message later on, which I'll show you in just a minute, and it will give you a clan key blueprint, which you'll need to craft. I think it takes 12 hours, and then after that you can then enter the dojo and use all of their labs and stuff to get weapon blueprints, Warframe blueprints, so on and so forth. I'll quickly skip to the communications tab when I get the inbox message to say that I have been accepted into the clan, just so I can show you. Now, when the clan finally accepts you, you'll get an inbox message to say you've gotten the clan key blueprint. So if you go through your foundry, you'll find there's a clan key there, for example. If you've been collecting resources, you should have the resources to craft one. As I say, it takes about 12 hours. And once that's done, you can go to the clan dojo and get everything crafted that you would like to craft. Now, the first mission type you'll come across that is very different to your usual mission type will be Cetus here. Unless you've been to Fortuna on Venus by accident, Cetus is the first one you have to go through in order to get to future planets. So Cetus is a free roam, so it's a big open world, and there's three different open worlds in this game. You've got one on Venus called Fortuna, one in Cetus called one on Earth called Cetus, or the Plains of Eidolon, and then you've got one in Deimos, which is the Necrolisk, or I've forgotten the name of it, the Cambion Drift. So in order to pass this mission, so you can get to the junction, you have to walk through and talk to the guy called Konzu. You can also just click pause, fast travel, and then click on his name. And then if you click bounties, and then just click the only option that's there, which is that one bounty. And then you go out the door, you've got to wait for them to finish their yabbering, and then the mission will unlock. And it's just as simple as doing what it tells you to do. Once you've done this, you will then unlock access to the rest of the bounties, which there's multiple different leveled bounties, and you won't be able to do most of them in the meantime. But one thing I would recommend is definitely looking for resources, especially the Iridite and the Grok Drill. So Iridite is those shiny red rocks that you'll just find lying about. You shoot them and they'll drop anywhere between 1 and 3 depending on which part of the map you're in. And then the Grok Drill are these like orange containers. These two are the two resources you'll probably need the first from Cetus, because they are required to build in Arcwing Launcher, which allows you to then use an Arcwing in the free roam. Arcwing, you should have done the quest by now, the Arcwing quest, which is just unlocking the first Arcwing, the Odinata, which allows you to do Arcwing missions, which you just fly around in space with like a jetpack on you instead of running around as a Warframe. The Arcwing is one of the fastest modes of travel, so if you can get the resources to craft it, you need 50 of each. I think you actually need 100 of each, because you need to build the Arcwing launcher segment first, and then you also need to build the Arcwing launcher, so you probably need 100 of each overall. But if you start working on it now, you'll realise that it's not too hard, a bit time consuming, but if you start doing it now, it's less work in the future. But after you've done that bounty, you can then head back to the big doors. It'll show you a marker this time, but by default it doesn't actually show you where to go to get back. But if you can hold the map button, which on PC is M, if you hold M, or on Xbox, I'm not sure about PlayStation, I assume PlayStation would be the same. If you hold the back button, just to the right of the left thumbstick, if you hold that button, it'll open the full map. And you can actually, if you look at the map now, there's the white marker on the map, the white like person with a circle below him when the map stops flickering. There's that white person there. If you hold the map button, you can actually click on any of those symbols and teleport to that. It's a teleporter. So you can use that to travel back to the door. There's normally one at each of the doors, and that way you can get back to the door easier and find your way home. Just remember, always come back to your loadouts, check your mods, make sure you've used up all the mod slots. As I said before, the mods don't really matter too much, just as long as you have on damage mods on your weapons and then health and shield mods on your warframes. It will last you through quite a few of the planets before you start to struggle. But if you have spare mod slots and you don't have any more mods of that type, just stick on anything. Putting on something is better than nothing. So, the more space you can use up, the better for now. The only time it won't matter is a small tip for you. The only time you may not want to use up slots is if, say, you have a couple mod slots spare on a Warframe, but you don't have any good mods for it. On a Warframe, every mod's capacity you have spare, I think, gives you something like 5 or 10 extra energy when you spawn. So if you would prefer not to use all your mod slots, you can also do that, just to give you a bit of extra energy when you first load into a mission. Here I'm showing you how to buy weapon blueprints. This is probably a good place to actually look into buying them. All you have to do is find a weapon you like the look of, double click on it, and it will open up a second screen. So weapons aren't only bought with plat, there is an option to buy blueprints. The recommendations for now at Master Rank 2 would be the Carrick, the Latron, or the Strun. Sorry, not the Strun. The Carrick, the Latron, or the Baltor. You've also got the Burstin if you want, which is a 3-round burst rifle. The Strun can be useful. It's a shotgun, but it does fall off pretty quickly. So I'd recommend sticking with one of the rifles. Then you don't need to worry about being too close either. But all you have to do is double click on any weapon. If it doesn't give you the option to buy the blueprint with credits, chances are it's unlocked through a dojo, or you have to farm it from an enemy or mission. So if you hover over blueprint requirements, it should give you a little description on where to actually get the blueprint and the parts, if there is parts. But most of them will say dojo and then a certain lab, like chem lab or bio lab, which is why you need a clan. Because once you've built the clan key, you can then go to your dojo and you can fast travel. If you just pause and then fast travel, you can go to one of the labs, which I will explain in a later video. After we've done this dungeon, well then, junction, playing too much Minecraft. After we've done this junction, we have now unlocked Mars. And this is kind of the boring start, because it's literally just working through every single planet you unlock until you can get to a point where you can start making cool builds and cool warframes, so on and so forth. This first bit's very slow because it's just working through planet after planet. But now that we've unlocked this relic foundry segment, we can actually not foundry segment, relic segment. Jesus Christ, void relic segment. We can unlock this bit over here, which lets us look at our relics. So this is one of the big parts of the game. So you'll see here there's heaps of different types of relics. Each relic has certain different prime parts and formas you can get out of them. There's different rarities. Obviously the higher rarity, the harder it is to get from that specific relic. Later on in the video I will show you how to open relics and how to discern what's rare, what's not rare. But prime parts are one form of earning money in this game, and they also make you stronger depending on what it is you're farming. So definitely keep an eye on your relics. If there's something specific you want from them, maybe don't use it until you have enough what's called void traces to upgrade the relic. Again, I will explain this, don't worry. But if there's a rare part, you'll see, so it works in bronze, silver, gold. So bronze obviously common, silver uncommon, gold rare. So if there's a certain part you want from a relic and it's a gold part, maybe wait till you have 100 void traces to refine it to the max refinement, which then makes it instead of a 1% chance of getting the part, it makes it a 10% chance. But once we get to that, I'll explain to you how to do it so you don't get confused. Don't worry about it. In one of the missions that you do to work through Mars and your quests, there will be this mini boss, the Lynx, basically a mini jackal. You can't damage him until you kill his ospreys, or you can't damage him as much. But once you kill his ospreys, you can just take down his health bar. I thought I would just mention this because some people get confused at this boss and sit shooting the boss wondering why he's not dying when there's those 3 little drones that just keep him from dying. So we did get earlier on the blueprint. Once you complete the Mars Junction, you get the quest and the blueprint for the Odinata, which is the Arkwing we talked about earlier on. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through that quest really quick. So it's a 3-part mission basically. So you've got to get each part. So you got to do this mission 3 times. So it's the same mission every time. Different planet, same mission. So it's an extraction mission. These are not very fun. I personally find them very boring. They're simple enough to do, but they're kind of a necessary evil. All you've got to do is run to the marker, and then when you get there, it will drop an extractor from the sky, and then these guys here with the blue tanks on their back will drop a power cell that will power it by 20%. You need 4 of these, 5 of these, 5. You need 5 of those in order to fully power a extractor. And once you've done that, you can just let it do its thing. The Corpus have the guy with the tank on his back. The Grenier have a similar one with a guy with a tank on his back. And then there's also infested ones. The infested have a little flying thing, which I will show you later on. They have a little flying guy that carries them, just so you're not looking for guys with tanks on their back wondering where they are. But all you've got to do is kill those guys, pick up their tanks, and then walk over to the extractor and it'll just automatically put it in. Each percent the extractor uses will give you an extra 1 cryotic, so once it's completed 100%, it will give you the full 100 cryotic. So if you complete 1 extractor for these missions each, that's all you need in order to complete the mission and get on to the next part. You can also, even though the extractor's full on power, if it loses shield, it loses some shield, loses all shield, doesn't matter. If it loses any shield and you're struggling to kill the enemies around it to keep it alive, you can just pick up a power cell and walk a power cell to it, and that will fill its shield up. So even though it's full, you can still use the power cells on it if you need to keep it alive. Here's a quick look at the Grenier power cell carrier. So they're blue guys with the cells on their back like that, kind of their waist height. Same again, kill them, pick up the power cell, and then just pop it into the extractor. Here is an infested power carrier. You'll see it in just a moment. They're, as I said, they're the little flying guys, and they have the power cell kind of hanging below them. Same again, kill them, pick up the cell, and you can drop it in. It's as simple as that. Now that we've completed all 3 of those missions, we have all 3 parts of the Archwing. So you want to go to your foundry and find out which parts you can craft, which parts you cannot craft. As you'll see here, there's certain parts I can and certain parts I can't. All you have to do is just work through planets and get the resources you can't craft, you don't have yet. Don't go out of your way to get them, just kind of work through the planets as you go and get them that way. So all you have to do is just slowly work through the planets and carry on doing what you're doing. The easiest way to also tell which mission to do next is actually just to work through the junctions. So you'll get to junctions and do all the requirements, and when there's a requirement to complete so-and-so quest, for example, complete the quest Second Dream, you then do that quest. The junctions will kind of lead you through the main storyline quests. Once you get through all the junctions, there is a way to tell, but your best bet is just to work through all your quests at that point. If you want to do your quests beforehand, you're more than welcome to, but the easiest way to tell the main storyline quests and the quests you have to do to progress is just to work through the junctions, and every time a junction tells you to do a quest, do it. Just remember as well, kind of keep your eye on the junctions ahead of time, so when you get to a new planet, first thing to do is look at all the junctions you have access to and find out their requirements, because, for example, the Mars one, the one from Mars to Phobos, one of the requirements is you have to kill 150 enemies in one mission. And there's a defense mission you have to do in order to get to that junction, so you may as well do that defense mission for 10 waves, kill the 150 enemies and get that knocked out there, so you don't do the defense mission for 5 waves. Get to the junction, find out you have to kill 150 enemies, and then do another 10 waves on top of that, because you've just wasted your time at that point. So your best bet is to keep an eye on your junctions, make sure you're happy with all of them, and just carry on. So to get to your gear wheel, in order to equip these codex scanners, you go to your arsenal, swap to that circular tab at the top, click on an empty space, and then double click on the codex scanners. To buy more, you can go to the market and search codex scanners, or if you've run out, you can go into the gear section, click on the codex scanners, and then you can buy them. It's something like 5,000 credits for 25 or something along those lines. I've not bought codex scanners in a while, so I don't honestly remember. But you start with 25 free ones anyway, so you don't have to worry about buying them if you don't really care about collectibles much. Now, if you've been paying attention to your requirements for the junctions, you'll realize that Mars needs you to scan something called a cephalon fragment. Now, these are purely collectibles. They do nothing else. They're just collectibles with like lore, but you need to do at least one for the Mars junction. So if you know that ahead of time, you can equip scanners, which I will swap to in a minute, and just run around missions, and you may find this blue shiny thing. This is a cephalon fragment. So if you aim in with your scanner, so on console it's Q, on console, it's one of the arrows on the D-pad again. I think it is up arrow this time. And on PC, it's Q to pull out the gear wheel. You would click on your scanner, and then you can aim in with it with your left trigger on console, or your right click on PC, and then right trigger to shoot it. You got to hold that trigger, or left click on PC to shoot it until it's fully scanned the thing. Once it's fully scanned, that's it. That's you completed that requirement for the junction, so you can then go on to doing the rest of the requirements, or just doing the junction if that was your last requirement. If you struggle to find a cephalon fragment, because sometimes they're hidden away really well, if you happen to at some point get the mod called Thief's Wit, which is a Warframe mod, you can equip that onto your frame and try upgrade it if possible. That will give you something called Loot Radar, which basically shows loot on the minimap, and it will also show cephalon fragments. Again, it'll just show kind of a blue dot on the map, like a blue blob of sorts, and that'll make it a bit easier for you to find it if you struggle to find it without that. Now, after killing bosses, you may get marked by someone called the Stalker. You may also get an inbox message, and then what's about to happen on screen could also happen to you after killing a boss. You'll see your screen kind of flashes like a red-black color, and then this weird kind of shadowy guy will talk to you. He is a boss, kind of mini-boss of sorts, and he basically, what happens is once you kill a boss, you are then marked for death by the Stalker, and there's a chance for him to then spawn in any mission that he is allowed to spawn in. So you'll see here, he talks to you for a bit. He'll kind of ramble on for about 30 seconds or so until he decides to spawn. Once he spawns, the easiest thing to do is actually just to mark him. So on console, it's one of the arrows on the D-pad. I think it's the down arrow, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure. On keyboard, it's G. So while he's spawning in, he's invincible, but he doesn't also attack you, so you get your chance then to attack him. But after that, he'll do his attacks and stuff, or try to attack you. Just try kill him before he kills you, because if he kills you, he actually disappears and you no longer get the loot. So you have to try kill him without him killing you. But he does drop some good things. As you saw there, I got Dread, which is quite a strong bow, actually. It's Master Rank 5 locked, so we won't be able to use it for a while. But if you can try kill him and hopefully get a good weapon from him. He also drops things like Hate, which is like a scythe. He drops Despair, which are throwing knives. He can drop the Broken War Blueprint, which I don't think you have access to until you complete a certain quest. He can also drop other things, which again you won't have access to until you complete a certain quest. But he drops a multitude of things, and some of them are really useful, so try kill him without dying if you can. Next, we are going to work on the Void Relic requirement for the Mars Junction. So if you open your navigation, click the little like fire symbol at the top right, and then click on any relic, you can start doing a mission. I do recommend you do this on public also. At the top left, there's a little world symbol. It's an envelope to begin with on invite only, but you can change it to like the globe, and that makes it on public. This way you have multiple other people doing the mission with you, and when they open their relic, you can also pick their reward as long as you fully unlocked your relic. To unlock a relic, you've got to run around and you'll see the enemies shine yellow and turn corrupted. So you've just got to kill those corrupted enemies, and they have a chance to drop a piece of reactant. They are by default marked, so it's really easy to spot them, and with vacuum you pick them up anyway. But all you need to do is kill enough of those enemies to get 10 reactant, and then you will have unlocked your relic. I will skip to the end of this mission and show you what the end game screen looks like, so you know what to look for. Just make sure you collect that 10 reactant before you head to extraction. Also, try to be nice. If you look at the right side of the screen, it shows your teammates' names, levels, health. It also shows their reactant just to the left of that, the little blue fiery symbol. So try not to get onto extraction until all of your teammates have 10, because it's just rude not to. And if you extract without them having 10, if you like force them out of the mission, you unlock your relic, they don't unlock their relic, so there's one less chance of you getting a good part, and also they just don't get loot. So it's nice to be nice. Just try to make sure everyone gets 10 reactant before running to the end. Once you've collected 10 reactant, like so, It'll come up on screen saying relic cracked, and then it will give you a random buff. For this time I got melee weapon has increased. So it does extra damage basically. It will, there's lots of different buffs. You've got primary weapon has, I think it's increased damage and infinite ammo, same with secondary weapon. There's ones where like abilities will have increased range and strength. I think there's one where abilities cost no energy. There's lots of different ones. So it's a nice extra buff. The higher level relic mission you do, the longer the buff lasts as well. So since we're doing like a really low level, it lasts something like 20 seconds and then runs out. Some of the other ones can last up to like 150 seconds, so you just have it for ages. As you'll see here, I do go on to extraction, even though this guy hasn't gotten 10 reactant yet. So just to add on to what I said earlier on, it is technically rude to not go on to extraction until they've hit 10. But you can actually start the extraction timer. As you see on the left here, it says extracting in and then a timer. When that hits 0, it will force them out of the mission. The only times it will not force them out of a mission is when you're doing either a survival, a defense, interception, or excavation. Also disruption and defection, but no one likes defection because it's a dumb mission type. But in this kind of normal mission type, this is a spy mission, it will force them out of the mission. But if you can hop onto extraction and start that timer and say the timer hits 5 seconds and they get their 10th reactant, you can then extract in 5 more seconds because they may not be near extraction. But if they're still really low on reactant and you're getting near the end of that timer, you can just hop off extraction and be nice and not actually force them out of the mission. Just a quick tip to make sure you don't screw yourself over with an extra bit of loot and someone else over out with their loot. What I'll do now is I will skip forward to show you what a rare piece of prime... what am I saying? What a rare prime part looks like, just so you know what to look for when opening relics. So now on extraction, once this person hits extraction, you'll see we'll get different tiers of loot. So there is, as I said before, there's common, uncommon, and rare, respectively tiered bronze, silver, and gold. But the cool thing is, because this guy got a gold reward, if you hover over them it says common and then rare, but you're looking at that bar at the bottom, so the bronze one's common, the gold one's rare, and you'll see a silver one afterwards. But because we all opened our relics and got all 10 reactant, we can actually pick someone else's reward. But say you didn't get all your reactant or someone else didn't get all their reactant, if you didn't get your reactant, you just can't pick a reward, full stop, and you don't get void traces. If someone else doesn't get all their reactant, one, you don't get their loot, so you don't have a chance at an extra loot drop that could be a rare loot, and they just don't get to pick. So it's nice to let everyone get their 10 reactants, so everyone gets their void traces and everyone has a chance of getting a good loot drop. Now that you've finished this mission, you've got the refinement relic. So if you just go to your relic section, you can either run there or you can pause and then fast travel, or equipment, and then click on the void relics. You can then click on any relic you have, and at the bottom right there's the 3 different sections. You can click on the first one to click refine. You will get void traces from opening relics, so you can get anywhere between, I think it's 8 and 25, I believe it is, or 6 and 25, something around that numbers. So you can get any amount of void traces between those 2 numbers whenever you pick up 10 reactant. The upside, you don't need relics in order to get reactant, so when you start a relic mission, you can actually just pick no relic. That way you can still get 10 reactant, get some void traces, but you cannot get a reward at the end of the mission. The reason you need to refine this relic is so that you can also complete a requirement for the junction from Mars to Ceres. That way you can do 2 birds with 1 stone. You can refine your 3rd relic and then also open the 3rd relic and have a chance of getting a better part. I'll now skip to the end of this, show you another rare part that you can get, as well as an uncommon part, which would be the silver parts. So here we go, just about to extract again. You'll see now everyone's got their 10 reactant, so just waiting for everyone to get to extraction and figure out what the rewards we get are. In this one we get 2 common rewards, which are both Formas, and then the uncommon Bratton Prime Blueprint and the gold Shade Prime Carapace. I always recommend going for the rare part. There is very few cases where uncommon or sometimes even common parts are worth more than rare parts. but that all depends on what's vaulted and what's not. Don't worry about what's worth money at the minute. It won't matter to you. Just get the parts that are the hardest to get, because when it comes to it in the future, you'd much rather just have the part than have to go earn money and buy the part. It's a waste of time. So you're best to just get the rare parts for now and then work towards everything else later on. After you've opened all those 3 relics, if you've done the requirements in the same order as me, you should now have access to the Phobos junction. So from here, we just load in the junction. Same again, exact same thing. It'll be one of the Warframes, not at random, everyone's got the same Warframe, but this one, for example, is Mag. So you've just got to fight Mag. She is really strong, but if you just run at her as soon as she spawns and just slash into her, you can actually kill her before she can do much to you anyway. If she does put a bubble around you, don't shoot any bullets. Just try to survive, because if you shoot bullets, it actually sucks your bullets back into it and you end up just killing yourself faster. So if she bubbles you, just either do nothing, or if she's in range, just try melee her. And then you're as done. You're as good as done. After completing the junction, you'll have unlocked Phobos. This is where we're going to end this video for now. Just make sure that you check your foundry, make sure you've crafted everything you can. For example, here you've got the Odonata parts, so I've already crafted these, but just make sure you've got them crafted, and then finish off your Odonata, and then just have a flick through everything else. If there's any weapons you like the look of, craft them. If there's anything you don't have the resources for, but you want it, go farm the resource. Just remember to look at the bottom right of the blueprint before trying to craft it, because some of them are actually mastery rank locked. So just make sure that you're the right mastery rank before farming the resources and finding out that you haven't got the right mastery rank. You'll see here as well, I'm showing you how to get, or how to look at different resources. So each planet will have its own resources. If you hover over this circle thing at the bottom right, it'll show. If it doesn't show, the bit at the bottom that says episode status, that may instead say resource drones for you. If you click on that, it'll then show these circles instead of the big long rectangle, which shows you the Nightwave, which is like a battle pass of sorts. But if you need certain resources, go to the planets you have unlocked, hover over that circle thing, and find out if any of those planets have the resources. If they don't worry, just carry on working your way through the planets and you will get the rest of the resources unlocked. But that's all for now. If you need any help, again, just pop me a message and let me know. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you all have a good one.